Your daily actions aren't consistent with demonstrating that you want it.
Yeah, your actions are not congruent.
They're betraying you.
Yeah, they're not congruent with your calling.
End frustration. Live your authenticity. Experience revolutionary freedom.
So you mentioned you were looking to break through with some physical goals with your physical body.
Yes.
Right? So that's a big part of revolutionary freedom in some of this coaching, is because so much of our life stems from our physical body and the condition that it's in. So tell me about some of the struggles that you've been having with your physical body.
So I've always, enjoyed at least the idea of working out or having big muscles on me, right? More size.
I like how you said that. I've always enjoyed the idea of that, not necessarily the work.
Well, I say that because, because a couple of years ago, when I was maybe a sophomore year of high school, that's when I really started to work out. I was consistent for maybe 8 months, 6 months, something like that. But I was always happy. I was hyper obsessed over it, and it was something that I really enjoyed,
Yep.
And whatever else happened, I could always fall back on that, and then that ended, and kind of went to working out, here and there when I'd wanted to. I'd have a couple weeks, out of the whole few years that I would get consistent again, and then just fall off, and I'd get lazy, or I wouldn't want to go back, couldn't find the motivation. And right now at this point, I still am like that. I haven't been consistent. I've, maybe gone a couple times in the last few months, but I can't find motivation to just start and stay working out, every week, eating the foods that I know I should be eating, which right now it's very little food. And then when I eat the food, it's pizza or chips or just junk food. Not that I don't want to eat food.
And real quick, to be clear, this is what you were struggling with in the summer before you had a breakthrough, which changed your reality, which is what you are in now, the new reality, right? Okay. So that being said, I want to make sure that that's clear, because you did have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy, you're talking about, I struggle with motivation to work out, to eat right. Didn't you have didn't you compete? Tell us a story about you competing in a bodybuilding contest.
Yeah, so that was my senior year of high school, which was a year and a half ago, 2 years.
Yep.
But yeah, it was Mr. East Bay, everybody, a few guys out of the whole school. No, it was 4 guys out of the whole school, me including, and I was just like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to do this. Like, why would I not do it? It's my last year. Might as well go for it. And at this time I was not working out at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. I just did it. But literally like the 2 weeks leading into it, I started cutting a ton. I forgot exactly what I did.
Cutting, what does that mean?
Shredding off all my fat and water weight.
Cutting weight.
Yeah, water weight. So it was just muscle and bone, as much as I could. And I enjoyed that. I got second place, which is the worst.
No, actually third's the worst. Not placing would be, come on, it's not the worst.
Yeah, but I had such high hopes for myself in that.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, I knew I didn't work out as much as the guy that got first place. Well, as much. I didn't work out and he did. So,
yeah.
I was disappointed in myself, because I'm like, I got this. I got second place off of not working out. Imagine what I could do if I worked out and took advantage of that,
Right.
And then I was like, I'm going to go work out after this. I'm sick and tired of this. And then, nothing after that.
But that's what, what's cool though is, and I want to give you some shine on this, is that you did that. How long did you train for? How long was your camp, your training?
Couple of weeks from what I can remember.
Working out leading up to it.
For that, I didn't work out for it.
Oh, okay. That's your point. So you gave 2 weeks of all in.
Of just diet. I didn't work out. I did track.
You didn't work out at all for that?
No.
You were in track.
Not at all.
Okay. And you had your business that you were still operating.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Either way, that's fine. Okay. That's funny. All right. Yeah. So that leads you. So fast forward again back to this past summer.
Yes.
And this is where you're like, I want to work out. You're not feeling great in your physical body, right?
Yeah.
And You had the motivation, like that was it.
Yeah, with just a few times over the past few months, my sister, oh, dang, your chest is small. Me hearing that is like... How
old is your sister?
16.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like... And I take her opinion very seriously because I hear her.
And she could be sort of like a voice for other 16-year-old girls and other teenage girls. Yeah. Which means that's what they're seeing, and they're not the most gentle judges.
My sister's not gentle at all. She gives me the hard facts, which is what I heard, and it hurt because I knew it was true. I looked in the mirror, and it's like, it's just not much there.
All right. So I know that one of the things that I've discussed with you is when this is a very common thing. Because you're not struggling with motivation right now. Is this correct?
Yeah, I'm just going to dive back into that one more time.
Okay.
I had just a lot of instances that kind of stabbed at me over the course of a few months. And I finally got just absolutely sick and tired of how I felt and having no energy, being like my body looked like it just shrunk. And so I started 75 Hard, which is a program to try and transform your physical and mental state. And that's what I'm on right now.
Oh, so it's like one of those physical challenges?
Absolutely not. No, it's not supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be something.
Wait till Andy gets on this show. Yeah. And we tease on the idea that it's a physical challenge because it's funny, right? Like we've seen what people they'll bastardize the program.
Yeah, the physical part's easy. It's mental.
So what is 75 Hard then?
Well, every single day for 75 days, you do 2 workouts a day, each 45 minutes. One has to be outside. A gallon of water every day. A strict diet, which weight loss, gaining muscle, staying the same, whatever that is for you. And then no cheat meals at all. No alcohol at all. And 1 progress picture every single day, along with 10 pages of a self-improvement book. Just something that can make you better, a business book, mindset, something like that.
Excellent. Can I read fiction and become better at thinking about imagination? Like
no. Harry Potter doesn't count.
Imaginative things? No. Harry Potter does. All right. So that's pretty fantastic. Yep. So you're doing that now.
Yes.
So you're in the middle of 75 Hard, 75 days in a row with no breaks.
Yeah, actually the first time I failed on day 1 eating a pizza roll. Second time I failed, forgot my progress picture on day 28. I'm on day 14 now. Starting it over again in a row.
So this is instructive. There's a lot to break down here. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to the point where you have no motivation. This is a very common thing that I've heard from people. In the way it's come to me in my life, the way people have said it to me, how do you stay so motivated? That's the big question. How do you stay so motivated? How do you do this? It's like no one stays motivated, first of all. That's the answer, is that there's a 2-part answer. How do I, which is, the question's wrong. I don't stay motivated. I do stay driven.
Yes.
I do stay concentrated on the goals of my life and the destination I want to go to. I don't even stay inspired all the time, which is a better thing than being motivated. Motivation has to do with motion. It has to do with emotion, and usually it has to do with feeling something. Right? You were very clear in what you said that you were battling with about 6 months ago, and even less, that you couldn't find the motivation.
3 months ago.
3 months ago. You couldn't find the motivation. You couldn't get yourself to do it. But you also said something in there that's instructive. And without me getting too nitpicky about these terms and the philosophical side of motivation and inspiration and doing it, because the answer to all this has to do with discipline and self-control. And those are 2 different things. So, and we'll get into that. So the way that you do it, the way that you break out of that, get unstuck, break through the frustration, because would you say that it's fair to say that you were frustrated being stuck about not being able to get motivated?
Yeah, it got to the point where I would take it out on other people. Like I would come home and just be mad at everybody. I have nothing going wrong. And I would just be irritated. Wonder why.
No problems and mad.
Yep. I was going against. what my drive was, and I was ignoring that.
Here's the deal. When your pain and your frustration build up enough to piss you off, you will make the required change.
That's what I did.
Yours did.
Mm-hmm.
This is a blanket statement. I am absolutely saying this is an absolute deal. Because we want to complicate things. Remember a guy a long time ago, and he was quoting, I think he was quoting an old CEO from somewhere. He said, business is simple, but we'll just say life is simple, even though it's not. Life is simple. We complicate it when we're trying to explain away our lack of results. Does that make sense? It's a little heavy. We complicate things when we try to justify why we aren't where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can probably look through the previous 12 to 18 months before the last 3 months. So before the times after high school, before you got your ass in gear and you went for it. And you can find in there a handful of times, a handful of mindsets that you used justifying and excusing why you weren't where you were while trying to preach to everybody that you're frustrated you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything you want to talk about there? Any quick examples?
Yeah, one huge example is you and me, for example, we're talking about working out and, saying, hey, the only time that I could do it is 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And I start work at 7. So I'm like, okay, look, there's no way I'm getting up that early. I can't do that. I said, and I convinced myself I can't do that. That is too early. I'm going to get no sleep. And I'm going to be too tired. No way. I hate it. I can't wake up early. And now I'm waking up at 4:30 a.m. most of the time, and I feel great. I feel better than I did. And when I wake up, it's like, let's get to it. I'll pop my pre-workout, and I'm good.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what happens is, and this is what happened for you, your frustration, the lack of not being where, the state of not being where you wanted to be, built up enough that the pain of that pushed you into changing.
Yes, and it outweighs the pain right now of being uncomfortable in the things that I do.
And you'd rather deal with the pain of 4:30 a.m. You'd rather deal with the pain of a disciplined diet, exercising self-control, even through the holidays.
Yes, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Man, this is Christmas. This is Thanksgiving. This is New Year's. You got to enjoy life too. You got to enjoy life, don't you? You got to live a little.
Just one time. It's just
this is the language of small minds, of people who, if they look in the spot where their feet are sitting right now, where their feet are standing, they might as well get comfortable with the view because they're not moving on. Now, it's not all grind. You know how I feel about lifestyle.
Yeah.
I believe it is meant to be enjoyed. It is meant to be lived. But there's only one way to revolutionary freedom, and that is a disciplined life. Mind, body, spirit. That allows you the freedom to have that pizza when it's off season.
Yeah.
To have that bowl of sugary ice cream. Not the sugar-free keto style that gets us through some of the tough times. But for me personally, I know that the reason I can go on a vacation with my wife or my family and have some drinks and have some fried whatever and have some junk food and some cheeseburgers and do it is because most of the year I discipline myself and exercise self-control to not do those things. If you only live that way, only live enjoying life, quote unquote, enjoying by eating shit and filling your body with garbage, That's what people will call that. They'll call it enjoying life. What happens is you end up with coronary artery disease. You end up having a stroke when you're 43. You end up having heart attacks before you're 50. You end up having diabetes type 2 in your 20s or your 30s. These things aren't that's not a genetics issue. That's a lifestyle choice. So, that being said, that's a passionate topic because you hear a lot of excuses come in. And the reason it's passionate to me is because people will try to get into your head with their lack to try to derail you off of your abundance.
And most of them want what we have,
yes,
what we're doing.
Yes.
But they just say that because they're so, they're just so closed off to it.
Yep.
That they...
And this is not about perfection because you know as well as I do, when I'm not committed in training actively, I get sloppy. And sometimes it goes beyond the weekend. Right?
Okay,
it goes into
the week.
It goes right into Monday,
into
Tuesday,
weekend,
Wednesday.
Right back into the weekend.
Dang, it goes into 1 a.m. watching Friends with my daughter and you know what I mean? Having a stocked bowl of ice cream. Like, I get it. There is no perfection here. It's about getting back on the horse and doing that way less than you don't.
Yeah.
So discipline, just to be clear, discipline is doing what we should do.
When we don't feel like it.
Which is almost all the time. Self-control is not doing what we shouldn't do when we feel like it. Does that make sense?
Twisting my brain.
Watch. Discipline is doing what we should do when we don't feel like it. Self-control is not doing what we shouldn't do when we feel like doing it. Make sense?
Yes.
You need both. They both have to be in place to get to some physical goals. So, getting back to why you went into the training program, your pain became great enough. You got sick and tired of being sick and tired. The old cliche, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you made the change and you did it. Now, you failed day one. Was it a moment of weakness that you just couldn't resist the Tortino's pizza roll?
No way.
No, what happened?
So I finished all my tasks, marked off my picture for the day, walked downstairs, chest
So
up
you
high.
won the day.
I won the day. Everything was done except checking off finished diet, no alcohol cheat meals, right? And those things I typically check off right before I go to bed. That way I know I didn't eat anything or sneak anything in before.
Right.
So I went downstairs. I was like, oh yeah. Hey guys. Saw pizza rolls on the stove. Went, bloop, grabbed a couple, threw one in. Hey mom.
Wow.
I just swallowed a freaking pizza roll.
So just totally mindless.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it at all.
Didn't think about it at all.
I swallowed it, went to go eat my second one, and then realized, wait a second.
Look, obviously it's innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you did not fail?
No, it means I failed.
No, even though it was totally innocent and your intentions were all pure and you even won the rest of the day, you did all the stuff.
Yeah.
So why not just let yourself off the hook for that one little pizza roll? It was an accident.
It's because obviously I wasn't ready to finish the program. I was still off course.
Well, no, it's more simple than that. You violated it.
Yeah, I just didn't follow the rules.
You violated it. That's the bottom line. Yes. It doesn't matter why, right? Mm-hmm. You violated it. So it doesn't count, no matter what. Now, what did you learn from that? Because I got something that's, go ahead.
How powerful my subconscious is. And how it controls almost everything. And even multiple times after that, I look at stuff and go to grab it. For example, walking in the office at the receptionist desk, there's a bowl of candy.
Out in the lobby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, after that, maybe a couple of weeks later, went by there, grabbed one, got in the office, about to unwrap it and was like, nope. Ooh, threw it away because I realized I was about to eat that. And I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just natural to grab the candy and shove it in my mouth. It tastes good.
Yep. Now look, that's massive, right? Because what's one of the key principles that we teach in Pillar 1, perception, to achieve revolutionary freedom? How to break through frustration. How? One of those key things that you learned with that freaking pizza roll.
Yeah.
And even the receptionist bowl of candy, how easy it is we do things that we're unaware of, right?
Yeah.
There's a multitude of habits that we have that we're blind to. The goal of the mind portion, mind, body, spirit, of the mind portion of pillar 1 is one of the major keys to breaking through. It might be the key, is to elevate the awareness of why we think and act the way we do.
Well, you have to do that before anything else.
But here's the trick. You have to have humility going into that. You had the humility to say, you know what? Wow, that was a blind spot. I did not realize how my habits will just lack self-control like that. Because not eating the pizza roll is an exercise of self-control. But you didn't try to violate self-control. It was a portion of your character that lacked self-control. Because we all agree, even though they taste great, they're trash, right? Yeah. Even the way I make them with butter and garlic salt on top.
Which are delicious.
Right. So for the person who's frustrated right now and who's tired of doing something, they can't find the motivation to go work out, and this is your situation, but this can be applied to anything. There's a reason that you don't, not you, the person listening, that you don't have the promotion at work that you want. There's a reason you don't have the life mate that you want. There's a reason you're not driving the car you want to be driving. There's a reason you're not giving to the charities that you believe in, the friends that are trying to start businesses that you can't support with time or money. There's a reason. And you can talk about all the factors. So I got this job and I got a shitty boss and they're just working me and I'm in the military. That was one of mine early, 10 plus years ago. I'm in the military. I don't have time. It's a restriction. Yeah. It's a hurdle. It's an obstacle. It's adversity. Fight through it. That's how you get strength. But there's something in you that lacks the awareness that's required to move beyond that adversity, to bust through that wall. It's a limiting belief. And by definition, we're not aware of them. And if we are aware of them, then we have the choice to change it or not. But most people don't just sit around in their limiting beliefs accepting them. They're limiting us because we're not aware of them. They're in the blind spot. And that's what these conversations help so much do, is uncover those. Because you eating that pizza roll was one of the greatest things that could have ever happened to you.
Of course.
Massive lesson on, oh my gosh, what else do I not realize my subconscious is controlling?
Yeah. Well, and then in that moment, I was sitting there like this really just happened on day 1. I was so excited to try and do this.
Boop, and pop the balloon.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, so you failed today, right? You failed it.
Yep.
I could have just eaten the pizza rolls. My mom, my sister, everybody just said, yeah, just eat the pizza rolls. It's okay. You failed.
Oh, good point. Did you finish? Like if you had a bite of cake, did you just finish the cake?
Yeah, you might as well just eat. No, I did not eat any more pizza rolls.
Wow.
I went upstairs and was just in that moment of disappointment and just went to sleep to get to the next day. Because the point of me doing this program is so I don't feel like crap. Eating pizza rolls makes me feel like crap. Even if it's a cheat meal and I'm doing great, it's still going to make me feel bad.
Right.
So that's the point. I didn't eat any.
No, I'm proud of you for that, because I was not home. I was traveling. And that's a big deal. To make that call on your own. That's manhood or womanhood if it's a woman doing it. Right. So that's huge, right? Limiting beliefs. It's massive. It's in control. Our subconscious is absolutely in control. By the time we're 35 years old, which you have a little ways to go before then, by the time we're 35 years old, over 95% of our thoughts and behaviors, not our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions on a daily basis are unconscious to our thinking, aware mind. That is huge. The pizza roll is literally just the tip of the iceberg about what's in control. And we all have this. Nobody is completely self-actualized and has no blind spots. No one. I don't care how well they perform or what their life looks like. We all got them. That's why we all need a coach, no matter what. I mean, if the greatest athletes in the world have coaches for different disciplines for their nutrition, their mindset, the way they throw the ball, the way they hit the puck, the way they swing the bat, the way they throw the punch.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us needs a coach, especially people who are married or have significantly important things in their life that they want to be successful. So I think I got a little, there was something there that was in my mind about the blind spot thing and the limiting beliefs. Oh, I wanted to mention this because this doesn't have to be all that complicated either. I want you to think about the simplicity of this. A belief is simply a thought we keep thinking. That's what a belief is. I don't care if it's about God or that Ford is better than Chevy or Chevy's better than Chrysler. It doesn't matter what the belief is. It's a thought we keep thinking. It's one of the key principles to transformation. If you want to change something in your life, change a belief, you have to form a new thought around that thing that you can buy into, that is in sync with your core values, what you really want out of life. And you need to form a new thought around that. And then you build that thought out and you build some substance to it. And then you keep thinking about that. Some people call that meditation. You can meditate on that. You just obsess with the thought. When someone finds a new boyfriend, new girlfriend, and they can't stop thinking about them all day long, and they're obsessed with the thought, they're developing a belief about that person until it changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no different than anything else. You form a new thought and you repeat that thought. That's a massive thing. So, but here's a big deal about, yes, your change and going into 75 hard. The pain becoming great enough to cause the change is key. But you don't always need to go to the point where you're so sick of yourself that you can't stand it, and that's what the thing that makes you change.
Yeah.
It doesn't always require that level of pain. So you would not have done it anyway. Or let me put it this way. You would not, we're in a certain place in our reality, right? We're at a point. You were at a point in the summer, just a certain point in your own reality, the condition of your life as it was, not justifying, not making excuses, not making it better than it was. You were at a point of whatever that point was. You're at a point right now. Today is your reality. Look at your life in this moment. This is your life. This is your reality, Tyler Durden. Your vision for what you wanted, the goal, the destination where you wanted to go, was higher. It's at a higher frequency, a higher vibration, if you will, right? You had to become more to realize that reality, the new reality. That gap in between your current reality and where you want to go, where you imagine yourself being, that gap is where the pain occurs. That gap produces the pain. If I have a mass, and it's not always hurtful pain. It's like if I have a dream of this podcast reaching thousands of people, which it does not currently do. Thousands of people. But my reality is a couple hundred. That gap is the pain. That's what produces the desire. If you don't have desire or you're struggling for motivation, your vision is not clear or you don't have one. If somebody's totally content and wants no growth, nothing to change in their life, they don't have a gap. Their reality and their dream align.
Yeah.
They're there. Settle in for the long haul, pal, because this is it. And it's possible to kind of stay that way forever, even though stasis, like maintaining, is a myth. That actually can't happen. It's either a slow decline or an increase. So the key factor for you was knowing what you wanted. The more you make that clear, the more you define that in your mind's eye and visualize the details and the smells and the tastes and the people around you and what that looks like, your daily activity in that future, how it feels to look in the mirror and see your body in the condition that you want to see it in, the more clear that is, the more inspiration you will have, the less you will need motivation, and the more discipline you will exercise on a daily basis.
Now, I'm going to relate that to a gym pump. When you're in the gym and you get a pump.
Bring it.
I hope this is...
The lunks will love it.
Yeah. So, no, I just saw on Instagram. I don't know this guy's name, but he was explaining how when you're in the gym and you want to get bigger, right? And you lift weights, your muscles fill with blood. That's what happens. So your muscles appear bigger. They get bigger. So you get a pump. So when you see that pump, that's like looking at your future self in a way.
Nice.
So you see that pump and like you go to the gym to see that pump. Oh, I want to get that pump. And then you see that pump and then it goes away. And it's like, I want that again, right? So you keep striving for that. And then say tomorrow hits, right? Obviously not that fast, but tomorrow hits and you get that big, but then you're that big and you see the pump and the pump is bigger than how big you are. So you keep striving for tomorrow, but you'll never reach tomorrow because it'll always be today. So you may never reach that, but you can always work towards it and you may never be happy or satisfied. Well, I guess that's not very positive, but it's just never being satisfied, but being happy with your progress, I guess.
No, I got your point. So a big part of 75 Hard, right, is taking the photos.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like the way I'm understanding you, correct me if I'm wrong, the pump that you saw literally today, right?
Yeah.
Or this week,
Mm-hmm.
you have a picture of that pump.
Yeah.
You can print out that picture, tack it to your wall, put it on your desk, keep it in your truck, whatever, keep it in your wallet, pocket. You have a captured moment of that visual that wasn't your actual physical reality in that moment, but it was a pump and it gave you the vision of what you did want.
Yeah.
And even though that will always continue to change on a daily basis, if you keep an eye on that picture, maybe a year or two from now, you've built the muscle that your natural body without the pump will look like what the pump looked like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically is what you're saying in this analogy.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I think that can work with goal setting too. You put something that you want up on a board, picture of a car, or a different job or a raise or a business that you want to start, something, right?
Yep.
You have that up on your board, a couple years pass, you have that or you surpassed it and you're like, what the heck do I do now? You just keep putting different things up there that you want. Once you reach them, you make new goals. I think that goal setting is very similar to the pump.
Yeah. You grew up in my home. You've seen pictures throughout the years. So, I was born and raised in and around Detroit. But you would, as a child growing up, you would see in the kitchen pictures of the current reality that we had. And let's say it was February with 8 inches of snow on the ground and it was 17 degrees outside. And in the same moment, I would have my buddy down in Miami.
I remember this.
Take a picture the way that I did I took a picture in front of my truck. He'd take a picture or out my front door. And he'd take a picture outside his front door at the same literal moment. Mine was in the teens or in the 20s. My world was covered in snow and governed by gray in the sky. The blanket of gray that the Midwest has.
Yeah.
And he did the same exact picture and view out his front door. And it's 83 degrees and blue sky, right? And I printed those out. And I would do this I've done this a couple times in multiple ways. I printed those out on one sheet of paper, put them in plastic, and literally tape that or put that up on the magnet on the fridge or whatever. So I could see the visual.
Yeah.
Because I need to know where I am and I need to know where I want to go. And having that desire, that crystal clear visualization, because we're going to teach more on the concept of visualization later and training your mind to formulate the vision of your dreams and desires so that your body carries out the actions on a daily basis and does all these things to where one day your reality manifests the vision.
Yeah.
And this has happened in so many portions of my life The office that we're sitting in right now is a physical, tangible manifestation of a vision that was only in my imagination for a few years. And that's literally Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Over my shoulder.
You said you wanted a office that overlooking the bay. And you literally have that right now.
Yep. That wasn't terribly far from home. Yep. So, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say this goes with everything, but just what I'm doing right now is I am learning about real estate investing. I had not met one person ever that was into this in my whole life.
Yep.
And then a month ago, I started learning, listening to podcasts, reading a couple books, and I've met so many people into real estate investing.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yep.
And that wasn't happening before.
So basically, you're attracting into your life the things that you're focusing on.
Yeah, I'm creating opportunities without even really, I guess, knowing it.
Yep. How do you think that is?
What's the word? What is the word? I know it.
Well, it's a phrase. It's a system in our mind, right?
Yes.
It's the system in our mind. The RAS.
Yes.
What is it? Reticular activating
system.
The reticular activating system.
Yes.
Yes. We see what we're focused on. We see what we're thinking about most.
Yeah.
The easiest way that everybody understands this is when you get hot for a new vehicle, a certain type of vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's a motorcycle or whatever, you all of a sudden start seeing it everywhere on the road, right? I want a black BMW. And all of a sudden, everywhere you go, you're starting to notice.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You're starting to notice all the black BMWs on the road. And what do you tell yourself? I knew it. It was a sign. I'm supposed to get it.
Yep. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. Look at there. Meant to be.
I'm going to go buy that right now then.
Yeah. And sure, maybe it is. Yeah. I believe in the heart being right and having your priorities in line, but then yes, go get it. But it's not that it's all of a sudden they're everywhere. It's all of a sudden your focus is there. And that's what you notice. So when we look at the identity pathway, your noticing comes from your thoughts and your focus. And your focus comes from your conditioning. And if you don't like what you're focused on, you can overcome the conditioning of your upbringing. You can enhance, in your case, the conditioning of your upbringing because you were not given the greatest conditioning in the world because I wasn't the greatest man in the world ever.
Yeah.
Who is? There's always room to improve. It's not to say that I was bad, but I have my own limitations. And I'm sure a handful of those are inside you.
Yeah.
And so, but when you stay open to the idea that you have limitations, you can then begin improving them, eliminating them, and replacing them. And then you end up putting your mind on things that you believe are possibilities, and your focus goes there. Your reticular activating system goes into place. You notice the things that draw it into your life. And one day, rather than being in a cold, dark, bleak place year-round, you're doing podcasts in the land of paradise.
Yeah. Sitting in your hot tub.
One day, sitting in your hot tub to start the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, you got to do the cold and you got to do the hot.
Yeah.
And this week I've needed a little bit of the hot for the body. And it's a beautiful thing. So, you know, what would you say? What would you offer somebody as we're heading out on this one? You're frustrated. You know, there's certain aspects of fear that are limiting you. If not, you would have already gone for it. If you're willing to face that truth and, you know, faith-driven, family-oriented truth seekers that are seeking revolutionary freedom in their life to break through frustration are those kind of people. They're not going to lay down and be overtaken by the fear and the frustration and settle in and become a cynic and get jealous and trash the people on the boat. Right?
Yeah.
what would you offer from what you've learned about your physical state from this summer and where you are right now, even after a couple false starts, failure starts with 75 hard and what you're doing? What's the thing you have to do that you have to offer in terms of that, whether it's limiting beliefs, how to get yourself moving, or overcoming the fear to actually pull the trigger on some things?
Well, I mean, first I would look at why you have that fear, where the limiting belief is coming from, I guess, right? Like for me, or if you're going against your purpose, right? Then.
So you're saying like you want this certain thing up here, but your daily actions aren't consistent with demonstrating that you want it.
Yeah, your actions are not congruent.
They're betraying you.
Yeah, they're not congruent with your calling.
Okay.
What could be your calling?
Okay.
So, which I guess working out isn't your calling.
Well, no. Let's just not even get so deep. Let's just say you got a goal, right? Mm-hmm. And your actions are not congruent with producing that goal.
Yeah.
Like your brother wants to be a certain kind of baseball player. Now, he's very young still. Just turned 12. So we can't hold all of it against him. But if he's 16 and he's midway through high school and says, I want to be a professional baseball player, but doesn't work out daily, doesn't swing the bat 100 or 1,000 times a day in batting practice, he's not doing the things required to achieve that. So, okay, yeah. So that's what you're saying, right?
Okay, so super, super simple example then. If you want to read more, you've always, just wanted to read more, but you're scared to read. You're scared to pick up a book and scared to spend the time. Then maybe you don't have a lot of time. So throw in 5-10 pages every single day and just commit to that little portion every single day. Even if it's just 20 minutes of reading, just commit to something every single day.
Yep. Had you read a book that wasn't assigned to you? Well, you were not a reader.
No, I almost hated reading.
Hated it.
Yes.
And I was concerned for you that in 75 Hard that was going to be an issue because of how much you have despised the idea of reading. Well, I wouldn't have told you that. Why would I install limiting belief?
Mm-hmm.
Most parents are really good at installing limiting beliefs on their kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really think much of it. It was just like, I hope this works out. I hope this can motivate me because I didn't want to.
Okay, so the principle you're saying is you have this idea, this vision, this goal, this thing that you want to change, but the fear of whatever you're not enough, I'm no good at, I don't like it, I hate it.
Yeah.
Start small.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Start small.
So,
and it might be true. Exactly. Yeah. So what?
Yeah, start small and just do consistent daily tasks or things that align with that and just see where that goes.
Yep. I think even for the reading, I want to offer even a little bit more encouragement to the person. Let's say that they hate reading or anything else. If it's a real hatred or something like that, a real aversion to the thing, the activity, I wouldn't even worry about 5 or 10 pages. I'd start and say, can I open this book and read a page?
Yeah.
Can I open this book and read the first paragraph? Literally, Grant used to call it like this. And when you're closing a deal in sales, rather than give all the big terms of the deal, you reduce it to the ridiculous. I like that phrase. And I got it from him and it's always stuck. Reduce it to the ridiculous. Instead of saying this thing's going to cost you $500, Bob, you break it down over a 3-year period and say it's going to cost you 42 cents a day. Right? Like,
yeah.
Right? So, and the math is it doesn't even matter. You get the idea.
I do.
You reduce it to the ridiculous so it seems beyond easy. Of course, I can open a page and read a paragraph.
Yeah.
Right? And then that can grow as long as you do it consistently. I promise you, if you hate reading and you open a book and you read one page, pick a simple book.
Yeah.
But like a good one.
For 75 hard, I picked a simple book.
Yes. You start off simple, bigger letters, bigger spacing, no joke, and you read a page. If you keep doing that, what did I tell you? If you keep doing that, the desire will come about. You'll begin like, I want to read more.
I already feel that way.
If you go into the gym and you hate working out because of how it makes you feel, don't go to a trainer that's going to break you off. Go into the gym and do a few reps, but do the few reps every single day. 1 or 2 days off a week. Like every day. I guarantee you, if you walk around your block, but you walk around the block every day, that's going to lead to a desire to walk another block eventually.
Yeah.
And that could turn into a marathon after 12 or 18 months. Mm-hmm. It absolutely could. Start small, reduce it to the ridiculous, and do it consistently and watch what happens. I enjoyed the time, Gav. This is fun.
Me too.
I think there's some real good nuggets in here that can help people experience revolutionary freedom in their life, which you are absolutely in the process of. Because remember, revolutionary freedom is not a destination. It's a lifestyle. It's a process. And progress is the key.